Correct, sir, you can start.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, friends. Today's topic is roots of violence, and I selected this topic because this question about violence is coming up again and again in our meeting. So I thought maybe we can look more deeper into and much wider than just about eating meat or like that. So there are two kinds of violence. One is the physical violence, which we see everywhere around us, and another is psychological violence. So I will say a little bit about physical violence and the violence of human beings against human beings is very much there in the world today. And it seems to me that from the very beginning, human beings have been violent and they were hunting animals for food. And at that time, there was no agriculture, there were no tools, there was no fire. But slowly, agriculture came and people can grow food, vegetarian food. But even then, people liked eating meat. Even the religious people in the past, thousands of years ago, they were eating meat. Even the rishis of Upanishads, I think they were eating meat. So only after Buddha and Mahavira, about 2500 years ago, they started talking about non-violence, ahimsa, and ahimsa paramo dharma. So, but even then, Buddha and his monks, they were begging for food and they were eating whatever was given to them and they were eating meat and people have been eating meat even now after so many years, even though we have enough vegetarian food. But I like to tell you about the violence of human beings against human beings. And we saw that in the last century, during the First World War, about 40 million people died in the war. And it was on a very wide scale, human beings killing other human beings. And behind that, there was some ambition on the part of the politicians to gain some land which did not belong to them, and they could not come to any agreement. And so many countries were involved in the war, and about 40 million people died. That was around 1917 or so. And then again, there was another world war, Second World War, and in which 70 million people died. So, and even after that, we had war, India and Pakistan, three times. And even right now, there is a lot of terrorism is going on. And India and China also fought somewhere in 1962, and India lost a lot of land. And then Arab-Israel war and the war in Vietnam, and war is also going on in Afghanistan, Iran, Syria, Iraq, Pakistan, and a lot of terrorism is also going on. And so many people have invaded India from the west, and they looted India, and they converted many people to Islam. And there was also slavery, even in a country like America. They used to keep slaves, and even in ancient India, I think there were slaves, and they were treating them violently. And there were many revolutions like Chinese Revolution, Russian Revolution, Iranian, and during this bloody revolution, millions of people were killed. And also during the partition of India and Pakistan, so many millions of people died. And, and in America, the red Indian people were wiped out. So many of them were killed because the people who came from Europe to America and then they wanted to possess all the land and they had the weapons of war. So, and the Indians did not have any uh, army or anything. So many of them were killed. And recently we saw the violence in Washington, D.C., where many people who were the supporter of Trump, President Trump, who was defeated in the election, but they did not want to accept the defeat. And they went inside the Capitol Hill building and they did a lot of damage. And the police had to open fire, and 4 or 5 people were killed. And then recently in India, Red Fort, there was a lot of violence which we saw on TV. And the police did not open fire, but these people, the Sikh Khalistani people, they had come with sticks and the swords, and they also did a lot of violence. And about 300, 400 policemen were badly injured. And there are terrorist organizations like Taliban, Al Qaeda, ISIS. They are spreading violence. And then there are wars within a country. And not only that, the violence goes on in the family also, because I read every day in the newspaper that there is a lot of violence against women and children and old people, and many, many people are even killed. In India, many about thousands of people are, are murdered, and then there are many suicides also. So all this indicates that the violence everybody sees. And what is the cause behind this violence? If we go little deeper into this physical manifestation of violence in war, the reason is that people are not happy with their life. And some people are very poor and some people are very rich. And the rich people, they want to become richer. And so they are destroying the nature, they are destroying the forest and exploiting the earth. And we are in a very dangerous situation. And if the humanity does not stop this kind of development, mindless development to have more and more from nature, then there is no hope for humanity. And at the personal level, the violence, the reason could be the destructive parenting. Like when the parents, they are very busy with their own life, earning money, and they neglect or mistreat their children. They are very violent, they beat them up. Then the violence goes from the parents to the children. And so when these children grow up, that memory remains and it affects their whole life. So how the students, children are treated at home and in schools, it creates a lot of burden, lot of stress, even the stress of studying so many subjects, and they don't like to study, but they have to in order to earn money. And so there is a negligence of the inner state of the mind in this process of acquiring knowledge, passing examinations, and getting jobs. Something is destroyed. The sensitivity or innocence, happiness, it gets destroyed. And then when people grow up, they don't behave properly. There is also some people have money, but they misuse their money. They get addicted to alcohol and drugs, and that also causes a lot of violence. And of course, when there is a lot of poverty and overcrowding in the cities, then that poverty and overcrowding, it leads to violence. And this is observed even among animals when they are kept very, very close to each other, and they don't like it, so it affects their body and mind. Domestic violence, wife, children, old people are, are treated violently, even bullying in schools, even in good schools. Students, they are comparing, competing with each other, and also their mind is not in a very healthy state. And so there is bullying going on. The media also affects the mind of people. And nowadays, people have a mobile phone and they can watch all very violent films, even pornography, and that also is affecting young children. And I myself tried to watch a film which was very much praised on internet called Mirzapur. It's a web series. But the first episode when I saw, I said there is unnecessarily too much violence in that film, and I could not watch that film. Even if they give me money to watch film, I will not watch, because when we watch this kind of films, it somehow goes in our mind unconsciously, and then those images keep on coming and it disturbs. And why there is so much abuse of children now we see is, I think it is because of the pornography. And in pornography, they show all the abuse of women and children. And in India, for many years, there was a kind of suppression of feelings, and people were not allowed to express their feelings. And now they can watch all these violent and sex films, and that is leading to deterioration of the health, mental health, and physical health. Now we come to what Krishnaji is talking about violence. And I saw 4 videos on YouTube about Krishnaji talking about violence. And he talks mostly at comparison, competition, ambition, which leads to violence. And because he's talking about the school, Krishnamurti school, and in the Krishnamurti schools, we don't encourage comparison, competition, ambition, because that leads to a kind of violence, mental violence. Then there is a deep rooted violence. Sometimes even um, Krishnaji is examining violence in a very, very minute way. And he said, if we follow some ideal like non-violence, just like Mahatma Gandhi used to follow ideal of non-violence, Krishnaji was very much against following this ideal because then there is a conflict between what is actual, the violence which is arising within oneself, and then we try to suppress this violence by this ideal of non-violence, then there is a conflict happening which is very damaging. Any form of conflict is a violence in Krishnamurti's teachings. So Krishnaji is examining violence at a psychological level and very, very deep level from where it comes. And there is a violence, not only physical violence, but the violence by words, the language which we speak, the gesture, and how we look, all this communicates violence. And Krishnaji is talking about that very, very micro level uh, at the root of violence, looking at it. And and of course, Krishnaji talks about the division of nationality, religion, which is creating violence on a very, very wide scale. And so Krishnaji is talking about freedom from the nationalistic and religious conditioning and look at ourselves and to look at ourselves clearly. It is not very easy because our mind is already going through a lot of disturbance and any confusion which we have and anything which we do out of confusion creates more confusion. So any kind of action which we do, positive action, but if there is no clarity, there is no love, no compassion, and just doing it like many people do social work, uh, that also creates a kind of competition and some problems uh, uh, at uh, at individual level, and there is sometimes competition between these organizations to do the good work. So what we can do if people who are really interested in freedom from violence uh, within ourselves, because I don't think that we can change. Humanity has lived with violence for thousands of years, in spite of Buddha and Christ and Mahavira. And Gandhiji tried a lot to reduce violence between Hindus and Muslims, but he was not successful. And at the end of his life, he was really frustrated. And he said, what can I do? And these people. So just by talking with people about not to be violent, it doesn't work. Uh, Krishnaji is talking at the individual level that if I am interested in looking deeper within myself, maybe I can come in touch with this violence. And if I can watch it very clearly, when violence is arising, like anger or frustration or jealousy, well, and to watch this feeling is very, very difficult, and it requires initially one has to be alone, and one has to be very, very curious, and one has to be very silent to watch. And that is the first block, the most uh, difficult block, where people are afraid to be alone, to be silent, to be curious, and to uh, turn inward to look at how these thoughts and feelings are arising. And when we see that something is arising, not to do anything about it, not to say it is bad or good, but just to watch it. And if one can do that, that choiceless awareness, then that looking can be the action, like Krishna ji says, perception or insight is the action which dissolves these problems coming into existence. And it is not suppression, and it is not an expression, but watching. And just by doing one time is not enough. One has to be at it day after day and be very, very curious. And if this watching is helping us, then it gives us more energy to look more deeper. And then at a later stage, one doesn't need to be alone. One doesn't need to make an effort to look inward, but it may become a kind of a nature. And then when it is, and it is like an ongoing effortless awareness which shows whatever is coming in the mind. And so it is like moving with what is. And in that, there is a freshness. There is no loss of energy, because our energy which we have, it gets lost in conflict and in unaware thoughts and feelings which we are not aware. And so even without doing anything, we can get very much tired, exhausted. But this looking, if we can do it, effortless, ongoing awareness, then we have enough energy to do our work in the office or in the school, teaching and writing, communicating with many people with clarity and with goodness and love. And we can do even social work and environmental work. All this work can be done effortlessly and very creatively. And in that kind of work, we don't do because somebody is going to praise us, give a reward, because many people are doing good work, but they expect reward for it. Even Nobel Prize winner, those people who are nominated for Nobel Prize and for the work they do in science, they expect a reward. And if they don't get Nobel Prize, they get frustrated. So this is also there in our traditional philosophy that only we can do the work and not look for the fruit of action. Ma phaleshu kadachana, it says, don't expect any result. So that is a real freedom. And that kind of freedom comes from this choiceless awareness, and it makes life very happy, healthy, and creative every day. So I have spoken enough. Thank you. And now uh, Chidananji will be speaking about. Thank you.
Welcome, Chidananji. Please.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I wish to ask, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
audible.
you are
Audible.
very good. Audible.
Because I
No
am
problem.
using some kind of headphone. Whether that is working, I was not sure.
No, it's working nicely. No
Very,
problems.
very good. Very good.
And thanks a lot for accepting our invitation.
No, that's okay.
This,
That's
this
nothing.
month you have to continue with us.
That's all okay. That those formalities are not required.
Yeah, yeah.
Dear friends, good evening, dear friends. And it has been very refreshing for me to listen to the sharing of Sri Harshad Parekh. Harshad Bhai has very meticulously gone over the topic of roots of violence, and if not anything else, he has clearly shown that the conventional approach that the average mind generally takes of asking people not to be violent, keep calm, don't be violent, don't hate, all that kind of whether you are warning people, admonishing them, or appealing to them, requesting them, whatever way, that cannot work, he said. I cannot agree more with him. It is so true. And this brings us to that basic issue: how do we really change? By deciding to be different from tomorrow, we only end up in more frustration. For that deciding, that willing, that resolving, or that announcing also to a group of friends, I am going to be different from tomorrow, does not take us anywhere. So we find that, like many other issues, somebody is talking. Somebody's mic is on, I think. Okay, now it's silent. Therefore, on one hand, it has been shown by Harshad ji how this violence is a fact in so many spheres of human um, endeavor, not only between countries, but also at homes. There is domestic violence. And there is violence even in the so-called educational institutions, for when there is ambition, when there is on the part of the teachers or the students, the tremendous urge to stand first, to shine and shine out, stand out, be better than others, and all that kind of psychology, violence is bound to arise. After showing how neither deciding nor um, simply letting the mind behave the way it wants to can lead to solving this problem, I think Harshadji dropped a hint and elaborated it a little bit, the possibility of watching silently. I truly appreciated two of his remarks. One is how conflicts lead to expenditure of energy. We get more and more tired and we lose our freshness. A mind that is pulled down by conflicts leads to tiredness and loss of freshness. And second point was how a wandering mind, a mind that simply goes into all sorts of thoughts, also loses energy. I once heard from somebody that we generally very much underestimate the loss of energy through talking. I am not sure whether it applies to all, but to a large number of us, energy is lost by just talking. I myself felt, though nobody thinks of me as an over talker, but in my own self-estimation, I felt that time, and even these days, I do recognize that I lose a lot of energy in talking sometimes unnecessary things. What I mean is, somebody is talking about something and I have something to share. That is fine to respond in a friendly manner, to join some discussion in a friendly manner is okay. But when we are talking about something, we have a tendency to slip into unnecessary details. And sometimes we even divulge certain personal details of somebody, some details we may know, and we lose our care, we lose our attention. We just, as the English idiom goes, spill the beans. What is spilling the beans? As most of you know, but one or two may not know the idiom. Spilling the beans is leaking out information which is not to be leaked. Somebody divorced or somebody had a fight, some husband and wife quarreled, and you and I sometimes may know. And with a third party, without really any compelling reason, if we just spill the beans, we say, that man and his wife had a fight. This is called unnecessary talking. I hope I'm not talking anything irrelevant. What I'm trying to say is, in thought and in word, we human beings dissipate a lot of energy if we are more careful with our speech. When we are neither hiding anything. See, to hide information also is not good, which doesn't mean that we go to the other extreme of letting people know details about maybe some friends where it is not at all warranted. Nobody has asked for those extra details, especially putting somebody in bad light, talking about somebody, what is called gossip, and so on. So our talking sometimes goes out of boundary and becomes some kind of gossip. Now, this gossip, and within the mind also, thinking about many kinds of things can surely cause dissipation of energy. And with regard to today's topic, violence, understanding violence, Certainly, if we have spent away our energy in unnecessary thinking and unnecessary talking, not much energy is left for quietly watching the roots of violence. And therefore, on one hand, there is a tremendous challenge involved in this matter of violence, understanding it, and going beyond it. On the other, I think there is the silver line to the cloud, there is the optimistic view, there is good news, and that is this, this, this ability to save our energy and live a gentle life, like Harshadji beautifully said towards the end of his talk, we could be engaged in some fruitful, some meaningful activities, or somebody teach something and to participate in some good discussions without being concerned with the reward. In fact, that looks like a very tasteless proposal to a lot of people, because people are interested in something sensational. People are interested in something spicy, just as, many people just push away a plate which has, some food with no mirch masala. They want mirch masala, as they say. There is this weakness in many of us. We want to get into some activity where there is name, fame, recognition, award, trophy, whether it is a Nobel Prize or Oscar award, or some small club in our little town comes and honors us. We are unnecessarily and very unwisely hungry for recognition and reward, which also Harshad Bhai touched upon. And that is another dissipation of energy. That's another wild goose chase. We don't end up anywhere. I'm using another idiom in English, wild goose chase. It means you go after the wild goose. For 2 hours, you are chasing it. Finally, the goose disappears into some bush and you are left utterly tired. Our whole life can become that kind of affair if we are not intelligent enough. Therefore, friends, I just wish to say I very much appreciated the talk by my friend before I began to speak. And to me, the gist of it is um, gentle life of awareness and being free of some mad, foolish pursuit of wealth or name. We need to, of course, ensure that we have the basic necessities. But anything that is fanciful, anything that is self aggrandizing, anything that is projecting ourselves in some special way, and getting angry with people who prevent our becoming well known, sometimes that's another dissipation. It begins with us wanting to become somebody, and then someone says you are not fit to become that, and then our energy gets destroyed in hating that person. He came in the way. I was going to be so and so. I was going to become that, and this man come and threw a spanner in the works, and then we start gossiping against that person. In fact, sometimes by saying this, I'll conclude. Sometimes some wise people have said we should be thankful to those who come in the way of our becoming famous and so on. We should be thankful to those who criticize us. We should be thankful to those who interrupt us or disrupt us, because in the light of or in the context of our being criticized or mocked at or gossiped against, we become introspective. We, along with the dislike rising in our bosom against that person, a part of us also starts wondering, I don't like that man saying that about me, but is there some truth in it? Oh, there is some truth in it. And therefore, then there begins some self observing. I regard that self observing as very valuable. We look at the operation of our own self. And even if there is a 20% truth in what somebody talked about us, even if 80% is false, but there is 20% truth in the criticism leveled against us, and if we notice that 20% truth about that criticism, and we handle it carefully without reacting, noticing the truth of that criticism, I guess there can be a tremendous cleansing, an inner cleansing that can be set in motion. Thank you. Thank all of you. I very much, I learned a lot in today's session, and these are the 2 cents, a little that I had with me to share with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chidanandji. No words to say about this.
Don't
Thank you
talk
very much. So, uh, you have to take uh, after this Thursday, next Thursday, you have to take. Both of you have to give some topic to me. And now it is open for everyone, whomsoever wanted to comment, question. It's open for inter.
If anybody is wanting to ask some question or say something about this, you can ask Harshad Parekh ji or Chidanand Swami ji.
I think Pradeep Verma raised his hand.
Pradeep Verma has raised his hand. He can unmute himself. वर्मा जी आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर लीजिए.
Is it audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Audible. This is what my understanding says about today's topic, the root of violence. In 2 sentences, if I express it, it is the reaction of the limited conditioned self to his likes and dislikes. So this is what I feel is the root of violence. Generally, in almost the conditions may differ, the people may differ in everything, but this is a reaction of a conditioned self, limited self. It is already a fragment who thinks he is different than others. That itself is a source of violence. Out of that, then when he says with his likes and dislikes. So Parekh ji talked about choiceless awareness. Choiceless means the self is not there, limited self. That means that limited self is not there. So the main root is with our limited self, the comfort zone we have, each of us enjoy. So this is, I think this is the root of violence. And then at what level it works, everything is secondary to this. But the root of violence is me as a limited self and a conditioned self to outside and inside me. And what he talked about happiness. Happiness varies, differs from person to person. And again, that is only possible when he's out of the clutches of his limited self. This is what my observation is. I think people may say something more about it, but this is what I think, the root of violence. Thank you very much.
Anand sir.
Harshad
sir wanted to say something.
Harshad Parekh ji is wanting to say something. He has to unmute himself. Harshad Parekh ji.
Chidanandji wanted to
okay.
something.
Yes.
He has to unmute himself. Both of them has to unmute.
Okay. Yes. Are you able to hear now?
Yes.
Yes, sir. We are able.
Yeah. Okay. So our search for happiness is generally in acquiring this or that, some recognition or gold, money, land, relationship, and we are searching for this happiness outside. And but I feel that the real happiness is within us when we really understand the cause of unhappiness. And that requires this kind of choiceless awareness and clarity.
Hmm.
Like even when somebody is criticizing me, and if I get angry or upset, if I am really interested, I can look at it instead of reacting very quickly. So when such clarity comes, happiness is there without anything. Oh, you don't. One doesn't need to. One can just look at the sky or the birds, look at people, and there is a sense of well-being when there is no conflict, no desire to get something from somebody. So the real source is within us, but we are searching it in outside. And so Kabir had said, तेरे पास हीरे मोती, मेरे मन मंदिर में ज्योति, कौन हुआ धनवान? Who is rich? So that inner richness we do have, but we are searching it outside, and so we remain poor. In spite of having money, we can have lots of conflicts and problems, desires, and all that. Okay, Anandji wants to speak. Anandji?
Yes, sir. So this is not a question, sir. This is an observation. Now,
Yeah.
ignorance is one thing, and the state of not knowing is quite another. The two are no way connected. One may be learned, clever, efficient, talented, and yet ignorant. There's ignorance when there is no self-knowledge.
Yeah.
So, self-knowledge is freedom.
Yes.
How do I know about the wonders of the earth and heaven and still be free from envy, sorrow? Is what I would look at it, sir. I mean, that's what I'm seeing. So I'll leave it at that, sir.
Yeah. Yes. So one has to look within whenever these are coming, any kind of ill feeling, something which is disturbing the mind, then one has to be very curious and look. Only that is, I feel that is the only way. You can't suppress it. If you suppress it, it will come when you are not aware of it. So there is lots thing going on within us, but if we are not curious, then we don't learn about ourselves. So, like a man was abusing Buddha, and he
बढ़िया
kept
मजा
on
आ रही
abusing Buddha, and Buddha
कश्मीर
was
में आ गई तो बेमतलबी और वहां से भी जल्दी भाग रही है
hello.
So when you say if you're curious, see, I'm getting caught in that, sir. Ifs and buts, and even the examples are not that.
Yeah.
And can I give my own example? Forget Buddha, Rama, Krishna.
Yeah.
Can I give my own example, sir?
Yes,
Is the question.
I can give my example. You
Yes,
want
sir.
it?
Please,
Okay,
sir. I mean, instead of quoting Buddha, why don't I give my own example?
Oh, yeah, yes. No, many times even students in Rishi Valley or Sayadri school, they have said something. And like one day a boy knocked on my door. I was a housemaster and also teacher. And the boy, when I opened the door, the boy said, "May I call you Parakit? Because my name is Parekh." I said, "Yes, you can call whatever. The word is not the thing. And similarly, when I was working in USA, Canada, even my colleagues, they used to tell something about me to my boss. And when I see these people, I don't feel, and they were surprised that how I can remain quiet. So I have lived that way. Because if I get disturbed, then I have to look what is inside. If I am very clear, uh, there is no disturbance. Only when there are hidden spots which I have not investigated, then there will be disturbance. And then it is good, actually, a person really goes through that disturbance, then it is an opportunity to look.
So if I remember what Kay said, life doesn't exist with conflict. And all the time, I want to avoid conflict. These are my escapes. Can I see these escapes is what is required. All the time, I want escapes. I want happiness. I want joy. I don't want to look at conflict or problems. What am I talking about, sir?
Yeah.
I say, and again, when we talk about violence, the question is, am I sensitive? Now I'm going back again, and I've got things are not right perspective. If you ask me, the human beings were eating fruits and vegetables and other things before they started eating animals. Scientifically, it has been established our intestines are not meant for meat eating. Somewhere down the line, we have picked up, like Kay said, somewhere we have taken a wrong turn. So again, when I'm not going to violence, sir. I'm talking about can I see that I'm insensitive? When I say the cow should not be lying on the road, and I write to the highest authority in India, to the Prime Minister of India, what is the cow doing on the road? I have not seen that, sir. Where is my sensitivity of there? How do I understand, sir, when my insensitivity to things around me? Not just, I go around, be very nice, walk in the parks and walk in the campus and look at trees. They're all again, it's again what you said, it's an addiction. Isn't that it's stimulant, sir? The K also mentioned about it. So when I'm talking about alcohol, when I talk about alcohol, sir, how many these people who drink alcohol, it affects their health. All right, it is not affecting the animals, and there's no cruelty involved in that. Why do I look at my own contradictions? I do all these things which is causing so much of cruelty to animals. But I'm talking about addiction to alcohol, my own addictions every day. Having pleasurable activities all the time. Can I look at that is the question, sir?
Yeah, you are talking about yourself. Are you talking about yourself?
Sir, we have one note from Chidanand ji that he will leave the meeting at 7:05 as he has to attend some meeting.
Okay.
He has to attend one class, so we have to allow him to say something for one or 2 minutes. Then he can leave. Chidanand ji.
Yes.
Oh, well, I don't have anything to say really. But in the last class also Sachidanandji raised it, and now also he is talking about it. I fully see the gravity of the situation. Very, very important. There's a lot of violence against animals.
Yes, sir.
And so I feel very sorry about it deep in my heart. So in principle, I do agree with the concern he has expressed. Perhaps it has to be discussed in detail, and how humanity can get out of this terrible thing. I myself often say on the Thanksgiving Day in the United States, millions of some bird, what is that bird called?
Turkey.
They are all massacred, and humanity is celebrating. What nonsense it is. But very sad, very sad. So I wish to express my concurrence with his submissions. Right. We'll have to discuss some other time.
Thanks, Chidanand for coming and joining us, and hope to see you on the next Thursday.
Of course, I will be coming.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So one YD Murthy has also some question, so he can say something. YD Murthy.
Yeah. Good evening. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, Harshad ji has rightly said, non-violence, by practicing non-violence, we cannot get rid of violence. That is because violence is a fact, whereas non-violence is a non-fact. It is the ideal. By practicing non-violence, we can never get rid of violence. So we have to stay with the fact that is violence and understand its intricacies. We should not suppress it. We should not run away from it, or we should not try to modify it. That is the only way we will be able to deal with this problem of violence. As far as the roots of violence are concerned, I personally feel the root of violence is the thought. The human thought which is fragmentary, which has created the self, which is again fragmentary, and also resulting in various fragments like nationality, like religion, and like differences with various castes and creeds, etc., etc., and all that. This division has resulted in violence over a period of time, and also human beings unfortunately got used to eating non-vegetarian food and killing animals, which itself is a big violence. And the violence to be rooted out, we have to understand deeply what thought is and why thought is creating this separation, and how to see that the thought process itself comes down. That is, you have to go to a state of silent mind. And only in silence, when you observe your violence, you observe your fears, you observe your pleasures, you observe your sorrows, there is a possibility of getting rid of all these things. And when these are not there in the human consciousness, definitely there is going to be a state of peace, a state of bliss. And that is possible only with right kind of meditation. Thank you.
Right. Yes.
वाघमारी जी, आप कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं? Are you interested?
Actually, today, unfortunately, I have joined late because I am somewhere out. I am not in the town. Fortunately, I could get this connection here. So I have joined late, so I have not heard totally what Harshad Parekh sir or Chidanand sir has said. But according to me, what I understand is root of violence is basically the root of violence is ignorance. The ignorance is actually not knowing the other dimensions, as somewhat Harshad Parekh has also said earlier. When the person doesn't have the experience of the other dimensions, then only he is having a feeling of self only, and he is having a limited view of the reality. Unless he is having the knowledge of or experience of the other dimensions, and he is having experience that he is one with the totality, unless he is having that experience, the violence cannot go. Violence will remain. That's what my feeling is.
Yeah.
What Harshad Parekh sir has to say.
Like Mahatma Gandhiji tried so much to bring Hindu and Muslim together, and at the end of his life he was frustrated and he could not do anything, because the problem is just doesn't go away by telling people don't be violent. Even Mahatma Gandhiji went for fasting, it had no impact. So the violence, this conditioning, religious, it is within the mind, and unless a person can look at it very clearly, then a person can come out. I can talk about myself. Like when I went to America and I had a culture shock, I was thinking of myself as an Indian Hindu. I was not able to relate with Americans or people of other religion and other nationalities. And I used to always keep talking with Indian people. And I was conditioned, but I did not know it. Only when I came to read in a book by Krishnamurti, the first book, he was asking why do you think of yourself as an Indian or Hindu or a Christian or American? He says we are all human beings, and psychologically we are very, very similar. What is happening inside you, the same thing is happening in other human beings. So I said, oh, so I am not the only one who is having problem. So I begin to observe outside, and I found that Americans were lonely in their own country, very disturbed families, drinking and drugs and watching all those horror and sex films and very unhappy, very violent. So when I realized that I am not the only one who is having this problem, and that I am a human being, I am not an Indian or a Hindu, I begin to open up. And then I lived with people of many different nationalities, many religions. I became very confident because when I begin to understand my problem, before I was very shy in expressing, but there is some kind of a creativity came, and I started writing articles for campus newspaper, and I became very active member on campus. So the whole thing, Krishnaji is addressing to yourself. The problems are within you. You cannot change other people. You can tell them don't eat meat. Like I stopped eating meat not by because Krishnaji told me. I somehow felt that eating meat is not good for me, and I used to go to the restaurant to eat meat. In Ojai, this happened, and that restaurant was closed. Then I ate fruit plates, and I felt very happy. And then I felt that this is an indication that meat is not for me. So when I went back to Canada, I stopped eating meat and I started cooking myself vegetarian food, and I felt very happy. And I was staying with a Punjabi friend, and he liked eating meat very much. So he asked me, why did you stop eating meat? I said, I don't know, but nobody has told me, but I feel that I must not eat meat. Then he began to think about it. He began to read many books, and he came to the same conclusion. And even though he liked eating meat, he stopped eating meat. And then he began to tell many people, why do you kill animals? I became very activist. But I'm not an activist. And I'm also not, by giving this talk, I'm not trying to change anybody. Only we are learning about ourselves. And in that, if we learn something and make our life very happy, healthy, beautiful, then that we will do it. Otherwise, no need to just keep on talking, discussing intellectually about all these things. So I have finished. Yeah.
So the question is, what is education and what is literacy? I may be very highly educated. I may have PhD, double PhD, but yet I am ignorant. Can I see that is the question? I have done my, I have very well, I mean, I'm a literate person. I have done my PhD, double PhD. Does it mean that I'm not ignorant is the question?
But the question comes from whom and who wants to invest? Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, I'm putting the question, sir. When I'm talking about meat consumption, it is not whether I'm telling you or anybody else. That doesn't serve any purpose at all. Yeah. The question is, am I sensitive? Yeah. And when I look at it, that I see I'm insensitive. The moment I want to be sensitive, I've again gone back to my conditioning. I'm caught in the opposite. Again, many people like you, they have gone to US. I mean, they were vegetarians. There have been Brahmins also, I know, and they're not supposed to eat meat. And people who go there, they have followed the Westerners then because they were our superiors, they were our masters. We imitate them in our dresses, the way we live, our lifestyle, everything we imitated. Quite a few. I have a Brahmin friend of mine. She eats meat. She started recently, maybe 4 or 5 years back, because her children who are brought up there, they eat.
So this is what has happened. Sachinanji, one thing I want to tell that psychological development is another thing and intellectual development is another thing. JK has also said the same thing, that why the man has not developed psychologically in so many years, in 5,000 years. So psychological development is entirely different thing, no?
Right.
Yes, sir. The question is, sir, it is only after I started reading K, I was talking about psychological and functional. Until then, even cases, there's a very thin line. I don't know when it is psychological, when it is functional. How it turns from functional to psychological.
No,
Can I observe that it is very difficult?
No, as Parekh sir has said, man has to have that need, no? If a man doesn't have the need to develop psychologically himself, then why he will go into, if he doesn't have this quest, then why he will go for that development?
So when
Will
I
not
say
go.
I need the need, I'm again back to my conditioning, sir. Can I see that it is not there? That is the point.
Why one should see, sir?
So
Why?
when I'm talking about, I mean, being sensitive, I mean, love and other things, I mean, obviously, I mean, I'm not saying that. Someone has said that, and I'm repeating that. All of us are doing the same thing. Can I look at that? Is the question.
Sir, in today's scenario, 80% people are not interested in this, sir. Only we are discussing in this sensitivity and all these things, and they are having all the ambitions and they are having all the things what they want to have their vested interest and all that. What Harshad Parekh sir has to say on this?
Yeah, no, if the question is really very, very important, then I will give all my energy to look at it. So I like to ask Sachidanand Anandji, whether the question which you are asking, are you able to look within you? Because only you can look within you. You can't make other people look.
Look
So
for
what
what,
is
sir?
the quality?
Exactly.
What is the
Look for what, sir? Look for what?
Exactly.
what the
Look
questions
within.
you are asking? Yeah, yes.
Sir, I mean, you spoke on violence. I'm putting that question, sir. When you spoke, I mean, about violence, how it happens, how we are hunting and things like that, and Buddha and non-violence and begging and eating, all that thing. So I'm putting the question to you, sir. When you said you have gone there, you started eating meat, and then you stopped eating, but you had never eaten meat before that. But if you're asking me, I have been eating meat from the time I've been born. And when I saw, I'm just saying I saw it, I'm not saying anything great about it. I just saw, and I saw there's so much cruelty involved, and also this is causing the problem for the planet and for the future generation. There was a decision. That's about all. I didn't say I should, and I have not told anyone if you all to. I've never said because of this somebody has stopped. I don't know somebody has stopped or not. And I'm also not interested whether somebody stops or not. What is essential is that I have seen it, I've understood. That's all there is.
Yes. So now you are asking.
वर्मा जी
A few words,
वर्मा जी
sir,
कुछ बोलना चाह रहे थे
because I feel all my questions should be directed to me first. All my questions should be directed to me, and the answer
it was there in the talk, sir. I mean, it was there in the talk.
Let me say something. Everything that I question or that I see around or in me is me only, whatever it is. I can't make anybody sensitive to my index. You see, so whether whatever I feel, being sensitive inside, outside, and the changes you have seen in yourself, that you were a meat eater and then you could leave it without any effort by just seeing it within you. So everything is within each of us. So there is no point in discussing questions in a crowd. You see, my sensitivity, I am closest to myself, mind, body. So all my questions should be directed to this person first. Because people often talk about Krishnamurti ji. So Krishnamurti ji said, be with the question, be with the problem. What does it mean? Asking others?
So that is precisely what I am saying, sir. What you're saying is what I am saying. Can I question myself first? And I've also spoken earlier to the first people who are organizing these meetings. I said, the moment you call somebody to speak, you're making them an authority. Can you see that was my question?
Yes.
A dialogue is not that. A dialogue is we listen for 5-10 minutes or whatever it is, we choose a subject and we all of us discuss that. So can I observe? That is the question.
Dialogue
questions are very, questions are very
clear,
essential.
sir. Sachidanand, it is very clear. Varmaji, just a second, sir. It is very clear, Sachidanand, if I am interested in my development or transformation, if I don't use the word development, if I am interested in my transformation, then I can start looking at the things. If I am not interested, then nobody can change me. Isn't it?
Right.
So again, we're saying in becoming process, we're going in time that I want to be transformed. See how quickly, sir, my question is this, sir. We seem to be caught in a bigger illusion than the ordinary people out there. I call myself a K reader, and then, you know, we are all the time caught in time. We want to become something. Can you observe that is the question?
Sir, we have to.
Can I talk about as we?
I beg your pardon. Did I say I or I'm saying I? I did not say we.
Invariably, we start using this word we. We are doing it as if I know. I, as an individual, conditioned individual, whatever it is, can see everybody something like seeking vote from others when we say we are doing this, we are doing that, we are not sensitive, we are violent, we are that, we are creating war. So this will not lead us to anywhere.
I never used the word we.
Yeah.
So if you observe, I've never used the word we because there's no such thing as we or they. It is only I and me.
Ah, that's right. That's right. Simple.
That is what, if you listen, see, sir, if you hear me, I've always been saying I. I've never said they or we.
Sachinandanji,
yes,
Sachinandanji, can we see that slowly we are entering into violence?
Violence.
Yeah.
Are we together? Are we in communion? Are we in communion? If we are in communion, then we can understand each other. If we are not in communion, then definitely we cannot understand each other.
So the moment
the root of violence is very clear, I think.
Yes, sir. The moment I say that, you know, we are entering into violence, can I see my interpretation of that? I'm using words. Can I remain with the feeling what Kay talks about? The moment I say it's violence, I'm caught in it.
Sir.
And again, sir, in a dialogue, it can take place at the same time, at the same level, at the same intensity. Yes. We need to be we need to be together. We need to move together. If I'm waiting to interpret whatever you're saying, and I'm going to oppose you.
Yes, I'm also saying the same thing. If we are vibrating at the same level, then words are not required, sir. Then words are not required.
Yeah,
absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Sir, we have discussed this particular topic of violence and root of violence for about 1.5 hours. Only 7 minutes are remaining, so we should stick to the main topic itself and remain. One has to remain with his inner questions only.
Yeah.
That is
what I think. Modak Sahab, I think just now we have says a case study. We have gone through a case study, and we have seen that how the violence can be merged. So slowly. If we are in communion,
sir,
I think
what is my understanding about the violence itself? Where violence is only generated when there is some hurt to the image itself, image of the self or image of any of the assets or anything or any values. If it gets hurt, then the process of violence starts itself, and it is so subtle. Then it is very difficult to understand. When we are in communication and when we are in the dialogue itself, then we can understand our inner processes, inner process, how the violence is arising. So we have to give attention to our inner processes and more to it. When we can change, then perhaps we can ask the society to change. We are asking
No, no,
from
not the
to
society to change. No,
We are asking from
there's
the
no such
society
thing.
to change, but first it is our responsibility to check ourselves and be as much as non-violent.
So as cashless society is due.
Violence is not in the physical violence, but it can be also, it can also come into words. It can also come into the feelings. It can come also into the emotions itself.
Absolutely. So violence is me.
So
It's not separate from me.
Our only purpose should be to understand ourselves, and that is our motto. And therefore we have gathered here. So
That
we
is the
have to
point,
stick
sir.
to that.
Yeah.
Me.
When I separate myself from
But-
violence, can I observe that is a question? And we are trying to do something about it. We fragment it and then we are trying to do something about it. That is what I'm saying. Can I observe that I am the violent? I am violent. It's what it is.
Sir, we have to observe all those things in ourselves, and what we are expecting that others will be able to understand the state of our own being. That is not directly possible. We can
There's no
understand
other-
our state of being very easily, sir. So we have to stop because we have only 3-4 minutes left. So what Vermaji has to
Sir,
comment.
may I
If he has some
may I
comment.
interrupt? Sir, Kamlesh, may I interrupt?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir, you can interrupt. You can
Sir,
say
yes.
anything you want.
3 or 4 minutes are left. Sachidanand Anand sir has already talked to me. Whatever his point of view, it is his point of view, and he is correct in his own way. So we have to, we will have another Thursday, one more meeting. We will clarify with him. He has been in contact with me, and we had a dialogue with Anand sir, and he say what he says has got his own point, and only Harshad Parikh sir can say something so that we can finish it right now, so that we can continue on next Thursday. That is my request. So
Yeah.
please, Harshad Parikh sir, you say something so that
Okay.
we can finish it.
Yes.
3 or 4 minutes are left, and then we will close after you are saying.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So, yes, from what state of mind the question is coming, and
Yes.
is this question is really very, very so much vital that one doesn't come to a meeting, but it can go on day after day, and one can look in daily life this question. So then only some kind of transformation can come within, but you cannot make other person to think and make him change. It doesn't happen. Humanity will not change. We can change if we are really deeply interested in the questions, and the questions are very genuine, that our attention goes to this question within ourselves and not depending on the answers given by other people. So
And
from what
one more,
state?
one sentence, sir. This
Yeah.
dialogue is possible only when we are exploring together, exploring the truth. When two of us or a number of people are exploring the truth, means not knowing we are exploring it, what it is, what it could be, then only it is possible. Dialogue.
Yeah, right.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Jain sir, close करें.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Please close it and fix next Thursday. The same speakers will be there. Subject will be, I will let you know what is the subject topic.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Harshad
all.
Parikh
Thank
sir.
you.
No
Thank
worries,
you all.
sir.
Thank you all
Thank
who
you.
have participated.
Thanks
in
to
the
all
dialogue
participants and especially Anand sir. Please do come on Thursday, sir. Thank you.